You're listening to the Spend 10K a Day podcast, brought to you by the performance marketing experts at Mute 6. This is your source for cutting-edge insight into the world of online advertising from the team with more Facebook case studies in 2016 than any other agency on the planet. Here are your hosts, Steve Wise and Stuart Anderson.
Welcome back to the Spend 10K a Day podcast. I'm Stuart Anderson, as always, with my best friend in the world, Steve Weiss. We are talking about InStore Visits, a new conversion objective that Facebook is testing out. This is a nice little kind of corollary to the last episode we recorded about kind of moving from the retail space into the e-commerce space. Steve, tell us about InStore Visits.
Well, first off, Mr. Stewart, I want to say that I'm blushing because you called me your best friend in the world. I'm very appreciative of that. But with that said, let the viewers, let it rain. So, Facebook released this conversion objective a couple months ago called InStore Visits. Facebook is now going after offline. If you haven't already known this, they have a offline conversion objective. This is really helpful for restaurants, for brick and mortar retailers. How this works is once you have 100 visits that Facebook has tracked, now Facebook can actually send your ad or actually serve your ad to people most likely to go into that store based on where they currently are. So instead of doing what we call location-only ads, this is now just like a conversion objective. Now you're actually able to serve your ad to people most likely to go in a store within a certain location and also a person who fits a certain demographic.
Yeah, and this is really changing the game for a lot of businesses out there for whom there's very limited options for a long time. I mean, my background before I moved to Los Angeles was working on the marketing side of the restaurant space. And for a long time, you could do Facebook ads for restaurants, but you didn't have the conversion tracking ability that you had if you were an e-commerce store or some sort of online business. You could run Facebook ads, and it would make sense to run Facebook ads. But now, I mean, this is a must. If you're a local restaurant, you can actually advertise and make it so that you are, targeting people really, really, accurately. To really, it's a game changer for the restaurant industry.
Also, a lot of these native-only brands are doing what we call these pop-up shops, and I think that the goal for all these campaigns is always to bring new customers. And with this new conversion objective, you're going to find a lot of new customers that Facebook is going to start serving ads to based on the location of where people are. And I think that's one of the keys. Is as an agency, as a marketer, one of my biggest challenges was always finding new customers and new people to show my ads to who are most likely to do a certain action. So that's what excites me. Also, I have a lot of friends who in the restaurant industry, and I've been waiting for a long time for an ad product to serve them, that they could actually quantify that, listen, this specific ad has brought in 25 new people or 20 or 15 new people. Besides Groupon, which really disrupted the restaurant industry, there hasn't been a very disruptive ad type, and I feel like this new in-store visits conversion objective could be exactly that.
Yeah. I think this is, there's a lot of obviously new features that Facebook puts out. A lot of them are incremental improvements on existing features. Some of them are new. Obviously, we get a lot of excitement on our team when we have new e-commerce features. But for me, this is a really kind of big change. The whole offline world, you and I have talked kind of like outside of the podcast about what this means for retailers and now what things like this mean for restaurants. I mean, this is huge. This is huge. I think this is uncharted territory for Facebook. They've already been making so much money. There's so much potential here.
The reality is that as a consumer, if you have the app on your phone, they are tracking you, and they're always tracking you. And if you don't want them to track you, then delete the app and don't use Facebook or Instagram as a service. You're paying for the service by allowing them to serve your ads and have your data. And now Facebook is finally leveraging this data and giving it to advertisers in a way that's never happened before. I feel like this data is now going to make everyone's ads a lot better. Facebook can now tell me in my ad campaigns when I'm targeting people in a specific area. Now a part of my new audience is going to be people who shop at the Gap, people who shop in specific places. So I think this overall, this capability is going to help everyone's ad campaigns. And I know there's going to be a lot of people out there from a privacy perspective who are going to be really, pissed off. But, if you don't want people to use, if you don't want them to use your data, then don't have Facebook and Instagram on your phone.
Yeah, so Steve, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people listening who are going to be like, "Oh man, when can I get my hands on this?" Do we know or have any information tentatively about, what the timeline is for this? Obviously, I think Facebook is in early beta, I think, for this right now. Do we know when this is rolling out to more people? Do you know when this is going to be available to everyone? Or are they kind of keeping, pretty tight lid on this for now?
They roll out to specific ad accounts. There's no real rhyme or reason to like how Facebook rolls out new advertising products. So I don't know exactly when your specific ad account, for those listeners out there, will get access to this. But if you do have a rep at Facebook, if you're fortunate enough to have a client liaison or someone that you work with on a daily basis, you have good spend levels, I would seriously consider requesting this. But as far as actual timeline, Facebook doesn't release any timelines around ad products. Their goal is they want to get as much data on the ad product and make it as good as possible for the advertiser. And then once they feel confident in that, they try and do a mass rollout.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'm super excited for this. I'm hoping we can, utilize this for some of our clients very, very soon, because I'm really excited to see the results. I mean, I have tons of people in the restaurant industry, both local restaurants as well as big chains, who are going to be chomping at the bit for this kind of stuff. So exciting times ahead if you are in, some sort of, physical retail or restaurant business.
Also, I work really late at night. I'm one of the few people in this office really late, and I was just thinking, I get lonely sometimes when I'm here late at night, and maybe I could run some ads for, to drive people into the office late at night, because I get so lonely.
Is that why I've been getting Mute 6 ads in my news feed recently, Steve?
Not that lonely, Steve. But yeah, so highly recommend testing out InStore Visits. It's gonna be big. Facebook there's gonna be a lot in store next year. Keep listening to our podcast. We're gonna always discuss it. We're gonna share all of our intel with you guys, and let's have some fun. Q4 is coming, and it's gonna be a monumental Q4 like we've never seen before.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have a lot of great content for leading up to Q4 in the holiday season too. So stay tuned for that as well. Lots of good content. But thank you for joining us again for another great episode of the Spend 10K a Day podcast. If you have any questions about what we've discussed today with InStore Visits on Facebook, you can contact me or Steve at mute6.com, Stuart at mute6.com. Thank you again for joining us, and we will see you again on the next episode of the Spend 10K a Day podcast.